I paid to forget my nightmares, but they remembered me. They say if you have enough money, you can forget anything. Trauma, regret, entire years if you want. There's an underground tech med startup called Clean Slate that promised just that, a way to chemically and neurologically erase recurring nightmares. No hypnosis. No therapy. No need to confront anything. Just a 31-minute procedure, a saline 4 with proprietary memory inhibitors, and a cooling helmet that gently purges the nightmare event loops from your subconscious. They didn't market themselves openly. You heard about it from someone who heard about it from someone they trusted with a secret. That's how I found it, through a guy in my office who used to wake up every morning covered in scratch marks from dreams that weren't dreams. After his visit to Clean Slate, he started smiling again. Sleeping again. So when my own nightmares started spiraling out of control, I took the same leap. My nightmares weren't just disturbing, they were prophetic. Not visions of the future, but something worse. Memories that hadn't happened yet. I'd dream of strange cities with skyless voids above them, streets that ended in walls of breathing flesh, and voices chanting from inside trees that bled ash. Once, I dreamt of drowning in a pit of soil while a child with no mouth whispered into my skull from inside. I'd wake up choking, mouth packed with dirt. Once, I looked in the mirror and saw that the whites of my eyes had gone gray, like someone had burned away the light inside me. It never lasted into the day. My body reset, but the fear didn't. The fear accumulated like smoke inside a sealed room. And so I went to Clean Slate. The office was pure sterility, white walls, white chairs, white coats, no art, no clocks. Time didn't exist there. The woman who conducted my consult didn't introduce herself. She didn't smile. Just asked for a specific dream I wanted erased. I chose the one where I was running through a cemetery with thousands of headstones, each one with my name on it, all of them with a different cause of death. In the dream, a man followed close behind me, wearing a mask made of pages torn from my diary, pages I never remembered writing. I ran until the earth beneath me gave way and I fell into a pit of teeth. When I told her this, her eye twitched, just once, and she nodded. The procedure began immediately. They hooked me up, put the cooling helmet on, and told me to count backwards from 10. I don't remember hitting 7. For 31 days, I was free. I slept like a dead man. Dreamless. Empty. It felt amazing, not just the rest, but the absence of that feeling. That feeling like something ancient was watching me from behind my own thoughts. I felt reborn. My face looked healthier. I started seeing people again. I even smiled. But on the 32nd night, I woke up to a whisper. Not in my ears, in my breath. Like my lungs had learned a language I didn't know. When I exhaled, the sound that came out was unmistakably a voice. Not mine. It said, "You were the last to forget. So you'll be the first to remember." I sat upright in bed, frozen. My sheets were damp with cold sweat, but they also had ash on them. A fine layer of pale gray soot, as if something had been watching me burn in my sleep. The following days were worse. I saw things move in the corners of my eyes. Shadows that didn't belong to anything. I tried calling Clean Slate, but the number was gone. I tried visiting the office, but the building had been demolished, or maybe it never existed. Where it should have been was a multi-level parking garage. No records. No leasing history. The friend who referred me swore he didn't know what I was talking about. I showed him a photo I took of the waiting room. He laughed and told me he'd never seen that place. His face changed a little when he said it. Like something behind his eyes shut the blinds so I couldn't see in. That night, I found the words "Dream Better" written on my ceiling in what looked like chalk, from the inside of the plaster. Soon, I started waking up in different places. One night I opened my eyes and found myself lying on the floor of my hallway, arms crossed over my chest like a corpse, mouth full of dirt again. Another night I woke up on my roof, barefoot, staring at the stars with my hands clasped in prayer and fingernails packed with soil. My reflection began to lag behind me. I'd smile in the mirror, and it would wait a moment before smiling back. Then one night, I saw something else in the mirror, a second version of me, slightly grayer, slightly thinner, twitching, like he was trying to break through the surface. That version wasn't dreaming. He was trapped. And he was waking up. I knew something was coming when I stopped dreaming completely. No darkness, no colors. Just sudden disorientation, asleep, then awake, but never feeling like I'd been anywhere. Until I started noticing the changes. My room would flip orientations. The lamp that belonged on the left was now on the right. My windows would face alleys that didn't exist the day before. The walls grew tighter each night. The air staler. It was as if the house was mimicking my dream, not the other way around. Then came the knocking. Always inside the walls. Slow, deliberate. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. I didn't answer. But that didn't stop him. When he finally came, he didn't crash in. He didn't scream. He simply stepped out of the shadow that my body cast and stood beside me, watching as I slept. He had no eyes, but I knew he was watching. He didn't speak with the mouth. He spoke through my heartbeat. Each thump was a word, and it formed a sentence I'll never forget. The cost of forgetting is being remembered. He left something behind when he faded back into the floor, a mirror, shattered in 9 places, each shard reflecting a different version of me. One was laughing manically. One was weeping blood. One was watching me, even when I turned away. Since then, the mirror has reappeared in every room of my house. Even places where mirrors don't belong, inside the fridge, under the bed, behind the shower curtain. And in every reflection, the version of me trapped inside grows more panicked, like he knows something I don't. Like he's trying to warn me. I don't sleep now. Not because I'm afraid to dream, but because I don't exist when I do. The other me takes over. I feel it, every time I come back, the sense that I wasn't here a moment ago. That I'd been somewhere else, buried beneath someone else's memories. That I was dragged out by force just in time to find myself gasping in my bed, hands trembling, eyes crusted with ash. I tried filming myself while I slept, but all I captured was static, except for one frame, exactly at 3:31 a.m., where a face emerged from the dark and whispered. "We don't die in dreams. We just wait to be remembered." I don't think this is just about me anymore. I think every nightmare I had, every grotesque, cryptic image, wasn't a dream. It was a message. Maybe from a version of me in a place beyond this world. A version who saw too much and made a deal to forget. A version that paid the price by sending me back in his place. That's what Clean Slate really was, not a cure, not a procedure, a transaction. And now the debt is due. If you ever hear of a service that can erase dreams, don't just walk away. Run. Because the things we see in our nightmares, the creatures, the shadows, the ones with our faces, they aren't stories. They're survivors. And the moment you choose to forget them, they'll remember you. They do. They remember everything, in perfect detail, long after you've chosen to look away. Every scream you cut short, every monster you blinked away from, every deal you made in your dreams and forgot by morning, they've kept track. It's not memory to them. It's architecture. They build rooms out of it. They live in your refusal. And when you pay to forget them, you pay with place. You give them space to live, to grow, to breathe just under the skin of your world. It started to change when I stopped looking in mirrors entirely. Not because I was afraid of what I'd see, but because I already knew what was behind me. I could feel him there, the version of myself that had been left behind in that erased dream, watching every movement I made with hunger, waiting for the seams of reality to wear thin. I once caught a glimpse of him in a spoon, eyes hollow, mouth split into a perfect black grin. His teeth weren't teeth. They were keys, jagged little things made to fit into locks I couldn't see yet. That was the first night the house locked itself from the inside. Every window sealed. Every door grew flush with the walls. I pounded and screamed, but no one heard me. Not neighbors. Not family. Not the phone. My voice didn't echo anymore. It sank into the drywall like water into sponge. The air turned heavy, like breathing in wool soaked with ash. And then came the dreams. Not at night. While I was awake. Slipping in between seconds, like a scratched record skipping time. I'd be washing dishes and suddenly I'd see myself, in a black room, alone, surrounded by mirrors that didn't reflect light, only memory. And each mirror would show a different me. Crying. Laughing. Screaming. Rotting. I don't remember walking into the basement. But that's where I ended up next. It was never a basement before. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. But somehow, I was down there, beneath everything. The walls were wet and breathing. I could hear them exhale. The floor was dirt, and the air was warmer than it should have been. In the far corner was a chair, spotlighted by a single bulb that swung slowly, though there was no wind. On the chair sat a version of me, thinner, hunched, mouth sewn shut with red wire. He didn't look up when I entered. He just shook slightly, like something inside him was still burning, and the skin hadn't caught up yet. That was when I heard the scratching, not on the walls this time, but inside my head. Like claws dragging against my skull. And then the lights went out. Total black. But not silence. That's the worst part. There was breathing. Dozens of them, in unison, as if they'd just arrived and were watching me, waiting. And one voice rose from the dark, smooth and awful. "You gave us your fear. Now we'll wear your face." When the lights came back, the chair was empty. But there was another mirror, and this time I didn't look away. It showed the hallway to my apartment, but not as it was. The walls were covered in writing, written backward, in that same chalk-like scrawl I'd seen after the procedure. I could only make out a few of the sentences. "He walks in two skins. The forgotten always return. Do not trust the one with your smile." I ran back upstairs, or tried. The stairs looped endlessly. I passed the same photo on the wall, a boy I don't recognize standing beside a massive open grave, smiling with all his teeth. Each time I passed the frame, the smile got wider. More teeth. Less boy. By the 9th loop, his eyes were gone. Just two black holes that pulsed in rhythm with my heartbeat. I blacked out before I escaped. At least, I think I did. I woke up back in my bed. It was daytime. Sunlight coming in. Birds chirping. Everything normal. Except for the figure sitting on my chest. It was me. Or something that had been me. His face was burned in places, peeling in others, and behind the skin was just ash pack tied into a skull-shaped container. He leaned close and whispered something I can't unhear. "They let me out because you let them in." He crawled backwards off the bed like an insect, limbs jerking in unnatural directions, and slipped under the bed frame like smoke. I haven't seen him since, but every night, I hear scratching under the bed. Every night, the weight of someone sitting on my chest. Every night, my breath tastes faintly like soot. I found the clean slate contract again this morning, the one I signed and thought I'd shredded. It's blank now. Not erased. Empty. As if it was never filled in at all. As if the deal was never written on paper. Just a whisper made real, spoken into the void of the sleeping mind. And now it's not just about the nightmares. They've started mimicking the people I know. My mother called me yesterday. But it wasn't her voice. It was me, calling from her number. I didn't speak. Just breathed, and whispered, "Let me back in." I hung up. But now every time I pass a mirror, she's there. Behind me. Smiling with too many teeth. And the other me, the one I left in the dream, he's stronger now. I feel him tugging at my spine, like a coat you try to shrug into. He doesn't want to stay behind the glass anymore. He wants my place back. So here's the truth, for whoever's reading this. If you ever hear of a company that promises to erase your nightmares, don't go looking for it. If you see the clean slate logo, a spiral with a blacked out in the middle, turn around. Because it's not a company. It's a door. And once you open it, the version of yourself you buried in the dark will claw their way out. Not to warn you. To replace you. And when you wake up one morning and your smile doesn't feel like yours. When the people around you start pulling away. When the dreams finally stop and you think you're safe. Check the mirror. Look hard. Do you blink when your reflection does? Because if not, you're already gone.